Okay, here we go. All right. Good morning. Now it's really good morning. Welcome everyone to Monday Morning Coffee with Kyle and Ann. I'm Ann Rossley and I'm here with Kyle Harvey. We are both masterminds in the Gold Coast office of Baird and Warner, and we are delighted to be here with you today. Today we're going to talk about spring is right around the corner, and it's not just tongue in cheek, folks. If you're thinking about selling in the spring, now is the time to start thinking about it. So we'll talk about that. Kyle, you had a busy weekend talking to people about real estate.
Absolutely. That's the key, is talking to people, answering their questions. There's almost no time when friends and people I meet don't want to know what's happening in the market. And so there was a lot of talk about that. It was very
Yeah,
interesting. Even people who aren't thinking of selling are around people who are and want
right.
to know what's going on and want to know
And
the
in that vein,
Mhm.
let's talk about what's going on, shall we?
Absolutely.
All right. So I did things a little differently this week. This right now, this is the world of what's on the market as of December 5th in our market area. And you'll see very few new properties came on the market last month. Most of the properties had already been on.
So this is November.
This is November.
Mhm.
This chart shows how many homes are for sale in our marketplace right now. And we took a deep dive. And Kyle, you predicted the last 2 weeks, saying that people were taking their properties off the market. They were the amount of inventory was going to be lower. You said just wait and watch. And here it is. You were exactly right. We went from 7658 listings to 4993. So
And I bet that number has dropped this week. It's just not in our numbers. It's not showing up yet.
right, exactly right. So this was so interesting to me. Of those that went off market, the majority of them were listings that were canceled. I think they were people who've been on the market since March, from March to June, say. They were on the market, they didn't sell, so they said, okay, I'm taking it off the market. Another 809 closed and another 969 are pending with only 3% expired. I guess nobody lets their properties expire anymore. Okay, but in terms of homes for sale by area, this chart shows the 4 different areas right downtown Chicago. So you can see the near north side dropped, and I pulled the numbers. 491 properties in the near north were canceled in the last month. Significant number. And the reason this is so high is because there's just so many condominiums in the near north neighborhood. So then if we look at,
And wait a
this
second,
one's,
and let's just also acknowledge the big spike this year was due to a reaction to the unpleasantness and to feeling when you're in a condo during COVID that is just too close. So
right.
that spike we're probably unlikely to ever see again, even when we come back on the market, because it will be beyond COVID when the properties heat up again.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And you can see in previous years how we have this. This is our typical
Yeah.
market trend, and this year was way off. So you're exactly right. But notice every neighborhood did experience a drop off in November. Again, every year we see a drop off in November. So it's not quite a surprise that this is happening. Now let's look at closed sales. The number of closed sales dropped off in every neighborhood as well. However, look at this, the number of closed sales in Lakeview in November was higher by 31%. Oh, and this number here is a reflection of the month of previous year. So Lakeview sales were up 30% versus the previous year. So even though it was down from the month before, it was a very strong November as far as Novembers go. And the same for Lincoln Park, it was up 7%. So while the number of closed sales goes down, I don't want to say that that's frightening in any way. It's very typical for this time of year. And in fact, November was better in those two neighborhoods. Under contract the same way. The number of properties under contract in Lincoln Park was up 30% versus the previous month. And you see it's down, but not down by much. Lakeview.
Is that the month, or is it over the previous?
Over the previous year, November.
Yeah, there we go.
So, and even the Loop
The
was
Loop,
up versus, yeah. So glimmer of hope in the Loop. Okay, now that was all the neighbors, but look, this is the entire marketplace that we do business in. November was down 20% versus the previous month in properties under contract.
Previous year,
I think
previous November or previous month?
Versus November of 19.
Yeah.
So, okay, so here's the interesting thing, I think. The month supply looks a bit better, but it looks a bit better because there are fewer properties on the market. So therefore, we're not saying the rate of sale is better. We're saying the number of homes on the market that need to sell is fewer.
Right.
Right. So I guess the thing to say is, yes, the market's kind of correcting itself, if you will, but our rate of sale is not going up. So, and you can see they range from the entire market area is 4.5. So that's very healthy, 4.5. Yep. 6.8 in the South Loop, 13.9 in the Loop, and 12.5 in the Near North. Those are buyers markets. People, it's time to buy.
It is time to buy. Then areas are going to get hot again.
Exactly right. Well, yeah, exactly right. So I did what I did last month, where I put the month supply in each neighborhood, and you can see 13.9, 12.5, and then areas that are good purchases relative to buying a condominium that are single family homes, they're going through the roof. Albany Park, Irving Park, Avondale are all under 3 months worth of inventory. Those are areas where it's primarily single family homes, where they have yards and space, and their prices are in the $500 to $800 for a single family home. So you can see hot, hot, hot. And then Wicker Park is good. And then the north side over here is good when you're in Edgewater, Uptown, and Lakeview. So that's it. I will.
No, it's a very interesting. It's very interesting, and we're going to keep watching these because this is a weird year, and I think it's going to stay weird until the end of 2021, and then I think we'll go back to normal, seasonal flow. But we've been so thrown off by all of this. So today we were going to talk about getting ready for the spring market, and because as we were, this is such a weird year. My own sense is that the spring will be a different spring. It may be earlier than it is normally. And we've been talking, Ann and I together about, and what do you see as a normal spring, a normal healthy spring market? What are some of those attributes?
Well, in a typical good spring market, you're going to have high consumer confidence, people wanting to go out and buy, optimism, obviously good interest rates. Are part of a good spring market.
Lots of properties. That's when most people go on the market.
Right. They start putting them on. We say that Super Bowl Sunday is our kickoff, but starting in February, there are lots of good properties coming on the market. People are out there ready to go. And
so what it really means is that there are both buyers and sellers. That's what makes a great spring market. A typical spring market is everyone starts to think about it, but a great spring market is optimism, confidence, and both buyers and sellers. And this year, I think we're still, last year was the year that they said that the largest birth year of millennials are at the point when most people start to buy, which is why we've been seeing such incredible purchasing in the under $500,000 property price range. It's those millennials are finally off the mark and buying.
Right. And what that means, as you had said it before, is when that first time buyer is buying, that allows the move up buyer to sell and buy again. And that gives it the energy that it needs.
So much energy. And what was interesting is there was an expectation that boomers would downsize. And boomers, as I've been reading everywhere, boomers are staying where they are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it, but okay. So there's fewer boomers downsizing. So one of the things and that will fuel a spring market is the May 1 turnover date for leases. So a lot of people are getting out of leasing, but they sort of want to close on April 30th so that they can get out and be in their new place or thereabouts. So that's another driver of this.
Right. And if you look at it, and everybody, you might think we're silly talking about spring market now, but let's work the dates backwards. If somebody has an April 30th last day, that means they want to close the last 2 weeks of April. Right now, these lenders are taking 35 to 45 days because the market is so good on refis and purchases. So you're looking at middle of March, 1st of March to be under contract, which means you need to be looking January, February if you've got a May 1 date. So sellers, if you're looking for that April 30th buyer, you want to be on the market January, February. Here's the other thing. If you're a seller, and we see this year after year in a typical market, and again, we're not saying it's going to be typical, but this is what typically happens. There's not enough inventory in January and February for those buyers to choose from. And so those who are smart enough to go on the market in January, February will have less competition and will sell for a higher price than those that wait to go on in April or May. So I would highly encourage you, based on the flow of a typical market, if you're going to sell, get on the market in January, February.
Absolutely. And this year, because we are so weird, I don't know that, the kickoff in February, I think it'll kick off even earlier. I think there's also been some challenge with some people who went month to month with their rentals, had planned to buy last year, and all the craziness with this pandemic are on month to month. So there are, I showed one of my listings to somebody whose lease ends in February. They got to get out. So these are the reasons to be on it. So today we're going to talk about, if you're a buyer, what to do to get ready. And if you're a seller, what to do to be on the market no later. I'm thinking like no later than the end of January. No later than January. Okay. So
which is 6 weeks away.
My God. And if I'm a buyer, what do I need to do to be ready so that I can get one of those great properties that comes online in late January, early February?
Yeah, if you're thinking about buying, you need to do 2 things right away. You need to get in touch with us and have a conversation about what the buying process is. And both Kyle and I have a whole series of things we can talk about with you, so you'll be fully prepared and educated to make a really good decision that works for you. In tandem with that, you want to work with a lender, and we have fabulous lenders we can recommend to you. Get on the phone with them, start talking about what you're qualified to buy, get your pre-approval in hand so that you're ready to go. When you find that property of your dreams, you want to be pre-approved and ready to put that offer in. So if you're thinking about buying in January, February, March, let's set up a phone call, Zoom call now, and let's get our ducks in a row so that you will be ready and better prepared than everybody else out there.
Yes, and a couple of things. This pandemic has made our lives different, but it won't be different in June. It will go back to something else. So think about how you're going to how we want to live today in pandemic may not be how we want to live post-pandemic. So think about how you see your life post-pandemic. And yes, there are some things that you think, wow, I'd love to have this again. I'd like to keep this. But think about the rest of life and start looking at properties online. Start seeing what's, there. That's the beauty of the internet today, is you've got a lot of pictures. And start looking at pictures and start driving around neighborhoods just to get a sense of where you might want to live. As we saw when I was young, a lot of these neighborhoods that are hot were not hot back then. They were good, solid neighborhoods, but they were working class. The property values were much lower. And now they are fantastic and property values are much higher. So, and I'm fantastic, I mean, just from a real estate standpoint, these neighborhoods have been long good neighborhoods. But that's, start thinking about, it doesn't have to be this tiny square corner. It can be a lot of different places, especially with public transportation being so good. Okay, so if I'm a seller, Anne, what are some of the things I need to start doing today?
Well, again, I'm going to sound like a broken record. The first thing I would recommend is to call us and talk about it, because the average pre-marketing time of getting a home ready to get on the market is 2 to 4 weeks. And that's the average. But somebody's going to be much more ready if they do it 6 to 8 to 12 weeks before. And we can either do it.
Especially.
Exactly. Right. So we'll come up with the plan and the calendar for making it happen. So we might say, okay, for these 2 weeks, we're going to declutter and stage and, go through the things. So let's go through those things that are on that, Kyle.
Yes. Okay.
So
here's something to think about. If you've been in your home for more than 10 years, the length of time to get ready is going to be longer. Right. Let's be honest. You got more stuff. Because step one is decluttering. And by decluttering, I mean, because, hi, I'm one of these people. There are a lot of things that we've just put aside because we didn't want to make a decision about what to do with them.
Right.
And so there is a lot of stuff that we have that, one, we don't know that we have, and two, we haven't taken the time to make a decision. So by decluttering, I mean, get rid of the stuff you don't use. There are a lot of people who do need the stuff you don't use, and you can give it away. And we've got a ton, Anne and I both have tons of resources about how to and where to give stuff. But even if you can't or don't want to get rid of things, getting it out of your home into temporary storage will help enormously in the marketing, one, making it look beautiful, but two, you will realize a better price if your place is emptier.
Absolutely.
Simple.
And you always say, Kyle, the 2/3, 1/3 rule with your closets. Take 2/3 of the things out so that 1/3 is remaining and it looks like somebody can move in. Overstuffed closets do not make somebody feel comfortable that they can move into the home, for sure.
And you know what's funny is people see their own closets and they don't think that they're overstuffed. And I'm like, holy God.
Yeah. But we all have overstuffed closets.
I do too.
So yeah, but we're not selling. But when we're selling, we have to clean them up. And speaking of that, the next thing we need to work on is fixing. This is a good time of the year to get the handyman in to fix things, for you to take some time and clean some things up. And by fixing, we mean everything from the squeaky door to the cabinet that's not quite plumbed. Uh, get the wattages in your light. Let's say you have can lighting. Make sure they all have warm or cool bulbs that they match each other, that they're the same wattage. And lots of people think mood lighting is what they need to sell the house. That's not it. You want bright, bright, bright. So put in the highest wattage possible in those lamps and overhead lighting. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. And here's the thing, a thing also to do, just back to your point of getting ready, focus on the mechanicals. So houses will have this more than condos, but some condos will have these too. The water heater, the furnace, the AC, at least have them inspected and have the paper for the inspections.
Right.
If you had a water heater on the last year of its life, consider replacing it or preemptively offering a home warranty, 1 year's home warranty with the property.
Right.
Do those things so that we as your broker can put in the listing all the great things that have been done and how up to date things are, because buyers want certainty. They can put up with something being older, but they want to know that you've thought of it, that you've maintained it as well as possible, and that they're going to be able to move in and price accordingly. So focus on the guts of the house. And so, for example, if you've got an older roof, have it inspected.
I'm a big believer in pre-listing inspections. It saves you down the road for sure. Absolutely. Then the next thing you need to do, deep clean. Clean as if you're moving out, and I mean, pick up the furniture, get behind it. The one thing that I see people forgetting all the time that I just want to mention here is your cold air returns or the vents get the dirt clogged on them. And every so often a buyer's going to look up and they see that and they're like, oh, if that's dirty and gritty, or the ceiling fan that hasn't been wiped down, even if it's a high, you have to get to it. Yeah. I mean, it has to be done.
Yeah. Think about like your most OCD grandma and how she cleaned her house.
Yeah.
Like that.
And if you're not like that, then hire somebody, but it needs to be done.
We've got people. Go ahead.
And then staging is the next step, of course. Oftentimes we can just take your things and zhuzh them around. When I say staging, it doesn't mean spend $10,000 to get your home ready to show. It just means a little adjustment for the photography, maybe putting in a couple of punchy pillows, or.
But it could also mean getting rid of. Let's say you have you've inherited a lot of furniture, and you keep all that furniture in your bedroom because it was your mother's bureau. It was this. It was that.
Mm-hmm.
Move, and you want to take it to the next place. Move it out in the short term, because there's like a lot of furniture to make a large room small.
Right.
We want your place to look really attractive to the most number of buyers. The fact that you love it is great. You already own it. But we want enough people to be able to say, hey, I could do X. My bed, my furniture will fit. And they won't be able to see that if you've got too much.
Exactly right. So let's take 2 minutes to run through the quick fixes that pay off.
Yes.
You want to go? Say a couple things?
Yes. Well, we've already talked about the light bulbs. Here's one of the things that it's so quick and easy and really pays off. Wash the windows inside and out. Hire somebody outside. If you've got a house that has things that you can't reach, wash those windows. When we turn on the lights and or for daytime showings, when the light streams in through clean windows, there is just this positive appeal, and that costs almost nothing.
Right, right. Bathrooms. Make sure the bathrooms are spiffy and clean. You may need to bleach your grout. You may need to pull out old caulk or recaulk. Trust me, it's worth it.
And going back to one of the things, the bathrooms and kitchens, if it makes sense to have a plumber come in for just to make sure that any leaks or changing out certain faucets to make them look brand clean, those aren't terribly expensive, but really worth it and will help you come inspection.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And cleaning kitchens. So one of the things that people do, which is sometimes surprising to sellers, is they open your cabinets. And because they want to see how much space there is. If you haven't cleaned out your cabinets, meaning dusted, maybe put down new paper, sometimes people put liner paper in their cupboards, put clean, because that just creates a wonderfully smelling kitchen, and kitchens can sometimes smell badly. But it also just makes everything look newer and fresher. So that's a quick tip.
Repair and paint where necessary. And I saw something this year that I had not seen before. And I thought it was a little silly at first, but now I can't get it out of my head. And that is, your switch plates where your light switch is. They said, make sure that the screws are facing the same way, horizontally, not askew, but horizontal on those screws. And it just makes everything look cleaner. And you know what? I started looking at homes and they were right. And that is like a silly, simple thing, but buyers don't necessarily understand why they feel attracted to a home. But when everything is pristine, they don't recognize necessarily it's because it's pristine, but that's part of it. So
yes. And it is these are all very subtle things. And just to that point, doorknobs that are a little bit loose. I sometimes go into houses and I use the handle to climb the stairs. What do you call that?
Handrail.
Handrail, whatever. That. If it's a little loose, I start to think, oh, it's a little loose.
Yeah, very good point. And Susan just made a comment that you want the same color on the switch and the switch plates. Yeah. You don't want like a white knob with the cream plate, and you want it to go with the wall too. So
ideally, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and if they're yellow and old looking, replace them. So. Yeah. All right. So that's it.
That's it. And so, and the last thing is, in prepping for showings, always just air out the place before we come, empty all of the garbage, and turn on all the lights.
Yep. It sounds like a plan.
Sounds like
all right. So if you're thinking about selling next year, get in touch with us now. That's the one thing to remember.
Agreed. And speaking of our friend Susan, we have a hidden gem on the private network. Remember, we keep talking about all these properties that cancel and have gone off the market. A whole bunch of them have gone on the private network. And in Lincoln Park, that number has grown to 88 properties, one of which is this beauty that our friend and colleague Susan Morrow has. It's 2121. I'm going to do share screen. Hold on. Let's see if I do it correctly. I don't want to screen application. There we go. 2121 Sedgwick, a beautiful street. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. In Lincoln Park, just a few blocks from Lincoln Park itself, close to transportation, close to everything. This beautiful home. Its price is $1,900,000. It's about.
Oh, it's lovely.
It's 5 bedrooms, 3.5 baths. The taxes are just about $19,000, which is almost nothing for all you're getting. So now let's look at these pretty pictures. So first of all, look at that exterior.
Oh, yeah.
Now they're doing one of the things that we didn't say out loud, but we thought about saying is curb appeal. Look at the curb appeal of this house. those beautiful entryway, the welcoming flowers. Doesn't that have fantastic curb appeal?
Yeah.
And look at, you can
Wow.
sit out front, talk to your neighbors, socially distanced right now, but in the future you can have a cocktail party up there. Look at this entry.
That's stunning.
Stunning, stunning. Oh, a fireplace, the windows, all that light. It's up a little. Oh, beautiful. This thing's
Okay, they did their job preparing, I'll tell you that.
yes.
Holy smokes, and what a lovely kitchen.
And look at that. As I've got my showing, there's a black counter, and then the switch plate is black. Very
Yeah.
nice. Look at that.
Mm,
So pretty. Move right in, ready.
sure is.
So,
Oh my gosh, that thing is gorgeous.
so wait till we get to the outdoor space, which I've seen pictures of. Oh my gosh, look. Who doesn't want a little baby in there? Office space, lots of, and this is, I think, the lower level, very handsome.
Mhm.
Everyone needs a bar downstairs. Another bedroom down below. Workout space.
Oh, and it's baby proof.
Baby proof. Yep.
Baby proof.
Oh, look how pretty that.
Oh, look at that mudroom area.
Yeah. Oh,
Nice. Oh boy.
look at that.
Wow. How cute.
Really darling. And that looks like a nice garage. Who doesn't need
The pedigree. I love it.
Beautiful house. That thing's going to go fast. So
Yeah.
anyone who wants it, give us a call. We'll get you in touch with the seller's agent and get a showing. Looks fantastic.
Absolutely. I love it. Love, love, love. All right. So we took up more than our allotted time today, but I think we answered a lot of questions about getting your home on the market. And as we slide into the holidays, I wish everybody a happy and safe and healthy holiday season. And please give us a call and touch base with us and let us know how we can help you with your real estate needs.
Absolutely. We're ready for spring.
Right. I'm Ann Rossley with Kyle Harvey. We'll see you next Monday morning at 7:30 on Monday Morning Coffee with Kyle and Ann. Have a terrific week.
Bye.